Go. Hello everybody and welcome back to Kraus Show. This is the show where Kraus talks in every character voice. But not really, because Tony is also here.
Oh, I thought that it was just you doing the whole thing in Krause's voice. Doing every voice in Krause's voice.
Yes, it's actually going to be Kraus trying to talk like Jessica. This is how Jessica talks. If Kraus were to talk is Jessica. It is another layer of voice acting that cannot be having an aneurysm.
Hello everybody and welcome to Monday.
Yeah. Hey boys and girls and...
Yeah. They had eaten breakfast at a coffee shop in the station building. By chance, the inside of the shop had been decorated with Halloween colors since it was October. Marie had seemed to be awfully pleased with that. For quite some time she talked loudly inside the train about wanting to have a Halloween festival without caring that she was attracting the attention of others. Halloween is popular in Europe and America, but people aren't that familiar with it in Japan. The shopping district was colorfully decorated with orange pumpkins, but the costume parades of children demanding sweets and saying trick or treat were nowhere in sight. Ooh.
Ooh, no, that's me.
That's you.
Ooh, I want a Halloween festival. I don't want to wear these clothes. I want to look like a witch.
The family conference isn't for playing. We're going to meet grandfather, so you have to dress up nice.
While it wasn't completely full inside the train, it was really packed, with almost all the seats occupied by passengers. Maria was making a fuss among them, stomping her feet on the seat while Rosa scowled at her. Rosa had warned her many times to lower her voice, but Maria hadn't obeyed her at all. Once Maria got like this, no matter how much he tried to explain the situation or calm her, she wouldn't listen. Before, Rosa used to pamper Maria and give in to her at times like this. But that had probably been a mistake. Surely Maria had gained the mistaken impression that throwing a tantrum long enough would make her mother give up and do what Maria said. Rosa had realized that error with the help of an educational book, and since then, she'd hardened the part of her heart that wanted to pamper her beloved daughter. Her mutual understanding with Maria began to grow weaker and weaker, and she began to get discouraged by her own powerlessness more and more often.
Halloween, Halloween. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. Ooh, maybe I'll kill you in your sleep.
I don't
That's a prank. That's a prank.
I don't have any sweets to give you. We just ate breakfast.
If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank.
A stout old woman who was sitting nearby as Maria stomped her feet picked a candy out of her handbag and held it out to Maria.
Ooh, I got a sweet. Look, Mama. Happy Halloween.
Hey Maria, you can't just accept sweets from strangers, right? Give it back.
Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, she's such a spirited young lady. How old is she? Maybe there was no malice in the old woman's words. However, Rosa seemed to find that remark extremely humiliating.
Maria, haven't I always told you not to accept sweets from strangers?
Ooh, she gave it to me. Ooh, no, it's mine.
Let go of it. How many times do I have to tell you to do what Mama says?
It's mine.
Don't I always tell you to not say ooh?
Rosa reflexively hit Maria violently on her cheek. In a flash, Maria started crying loudly. Rosa immediately took the candy from Maria's hand and pushed it back towards the dumbfounded old woman sitting next to them.
Please do not give sweets. Do not just give sweets to my daughter.
I'm so sorry. Breathing heavily, Rosa once again held the candy out to the old woman. After getting flustered about what she should say for a few moments, perhaps the old woman realized that her actions may have troubled this parent and child, and she accepted the candy back, apologizing. After that, Rosa finally took notice of her surroundings. Her daughter's clothes were all messed up, she was crying and shouting with her nose dripping, and there were many dumbfounded passengers watching them. Except for the sound of the train running, the interior was completely silent. Fortunately, that pitiful silence didn't last more than a short while. However, it was followed by an even more painful atmosphere as everyone began to whisper. Maria shouted, cried, kicked, and stomped her feet as usual, paying no heed to the people sitting around her. Impulsively, Rosa tried to slap her again, but she noticed the cold eyes of the people in the train and couldn't. When the train stopped, Rosa forcibly pulled Maria's arm and got off, almost dragging her daughter along. Maria didn't stop crying. Rosa took her to the end of the platform and hit her cheek again. At the moment she was hit, Maria stopped crying for an instant, but before long she shouted and cried even more than before. Overwhelmed with emotion, Rosa grabbed the nape of Maria's neck and dragged her, tugging at her hair.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Mama, it hurts. Mama, it hurts. Ooh.
Didn't I tell you to shut up?
Ow! That's ooh of yours.
I told you to stop. That's the reason you can't make friends in class, right? Get a hold of yourself. Why are you still a kindergartner inside your head? Why can't you do what Mama says? Why?
With those severe words, Rosa hit Maria's cheek over and over again. The more Maria cried and shouted, the more Rosa hit her. And the more Maria was hit, the more intensely she cried and shouted.
Mama, it hurts. Mama, it hurts. Mama, save me. Mama. What? I'm getting all these voices mixed up, dude.
Huh?
Why can't you stop saying, ooh? This is exactly why you can't make friends. This is why Papa's business trip never ends. This is why I...
Excuse me, ma'am, is everything alright?
That's a good voice, dude. Do you want something?
The one who timidly called to her was the station attendant. Rosa glared at the attendant with a look that said, "Don't butt into the problems of a mother and child, stranger." Of course, the attendant surely hadn't wanted to get involved either. However, Rosa had been yelling on the platform for a much longer time than she had imagined. Her emotional scolding had led the passengers on the platform to advise the attendant to call her out. Rosa yelled at the attendant, saying not to worry anymore since they'd be getting on the next train. And then, finally, or rather, for the second time, she noticed the passengers on the platform staring at her from a distance. Rosa sweat slightly and felt a breeze make her sweat go cold, tormenting her. Maria still kept on crying, shielding her own head. Of course, if this beating continued, she'd probably keep crying indefinitely.
I did it. Again.
As the terrible heat in Rosa's head faded, she knew she had surrendered her soul to evil again.
Mama, come back. Ooh.
Rosa fell to her knees and hugged Maria, whose face was all soggy with tears and mucus.
Maria, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Mama, welcome back.
Finally, Maria realized that her mother was her mother again. She clung to her mother's body and cried, burying her face in her mother's chest.
Forgive your bad mama. I'm so sorry. Please don't hate your mama.
Ooh.
I'm
Fuck.
just fine.
I'm an idiot. Okay.
It's fine. I won't hate Mama. Mama was only being possessed by the bad witch again. More like bad bitch. But you came back, so I'm fine.
Yeah, that's right. Mama was just being possessed by the evil witch again. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
For a long time, the two of them hugged each other, asking for and sharing words of forgiveness. After a while, they calmed down and both moved back at the same time. Maria's face and Rosa's face were both deep red after crying their eyes out.
Do you want to have a Halloween festival, Maria?
Yeah. I want to show those pumpkin marshmallows to George, big brother, and Jessica, big sister.
It was a candy they'd been selling near the cash register at the shop where they'd eaten breakfast. A fancy sweet that had a big orange marshmallow in the shape of a jack-o'-lantern attached to the tip of a stick. Maria had wanted it and had insistently pestered Rosa for it. Rosa had refused, saying that there was no way she could buy sweets right after breakfast.
Then, Maria, I don't know if they sell those in this town or not, but let's get off and try searching for them, okay?
Yeah, I love you, Mama. I love you so much. Thank you.
I love you too, Maria.
The truth was that they didn't have time to waste loitering around at a stopover station. If they missed the airplane, they'd fall half a day behind schedule. She should have left home with more time to spare, but she'd ended up leaving late after choosing Maria's clothes. Because of that, Rosa had been a bit impatient since the morning. She looked at the clock. They had to get on the next train immediately. But her daughter firmly joined hands with her to go buy the sweet with her mother, and that hand was warm. To Rosa, as she was now, it was more important to renew her bonds with Maria. To her, Maria was not only a beloved daughter, she was everything Rosa had. Fortunately, they could see a big supermarket right in front of the station. They might not be able to find exactly the same sweet, but Maria would probably be happy with a similar one. Besides, Rosa couldn't show up with a face swelled from crying. She must fix her makeup.
Maybe we won't find a marshmallow exactly like that one, but hopefully we can find something like it. Let's buy something and surprise all your cousins together.
Yeah, as long as we buy it together, any sweet is fine.
They exited through the turnstiles of the station in this unknown town. Maria walked across the pedestrian crossing together with her mother, chuckling to herself, as though she was walking in an amusement park. Both faces were still deep red, but the two of them, mother and child, smiled warmly at each other without any restraint.
Oh, nice. We can skip over everything else.
Dear, what are you doing in a place like this?
Ah, it's you. It's nothing. I just find this a pleasant place to think.
All of our preparations for today have been completed. Why don't we have some tea and relax while we wait?
Forgive me. I'm always making you handle such troublesome matters.
Please, rely on me even more. I am your wife.
Naturally, I'm grateful to have you always coming to my aid. That's precisely why I am able to devote myself to work.
I understand. I understand about your work. And the topic of father's inheritance, right?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with you. It's nothing more than fishing for rotten meat amongst greedy siblings.
It's okay, dear. Everything will go well. Your businesses have never failed to work themselves out. Natsui softly cuddled close to Krause's shoulder. She complimented Krause on his hard work, but Natsui knew better than anyone that his work wasn't going well. Krause's project was something like a seesaw where a large amount of money swings. Big investments can lead to massive payoffs, but like large seesaws, they tend to shake a lot while moving very slowly, instead of showing immediate results. At times, it's possible to make further investments so that the seesaw inclines faster towards the side you want. Of course, you'd only do that if you were confident you'd be able to recover all your investments in the not-so-distant future. However, the seesaws Krause chose never turned out as he would have liked them to. His foresight wasn't wrong, but the times were moving sluggishly. They never managed to catch up with him. For example, think of a literal seesaw, placed in a park. It's a really popular item, so there's always someone playing on it, and you've got to wait a long time for your turn. Let's say that one day you spotted one of those seesaws that was completely unused, and you raced to grab it first and have it all to yourself. However, unless someone got on the opposite side of the seesaw, you wouldn't be able to play on it. What if lots of time passed, and nobody came to the opposite end? Seesaws are popular, so if you wait long enough, a companion will surely show up. But Kraus noticed something. The weather is getting worse, so nobody's coming outside to play. But seesaws are popular, so someone will surely come eventually. If he vacated his place because of the worsening weather, it would certainly be snatched away. And once again, he'd end up longingly gazing from a distance at someone else having fun on the seesaw. On one side of the seesaw, he continued to wait patiently, all alone. That was Kraus's project, and his current situation.
If only I'd had a bit more courage and self-confidence to believe in my own foresight, I would never have failed.
Yes, that's true. Your foresight is never wrong. You are the only one who inherited Father's resourcefulness. You inherited an innate disposition that none of the other siblings did.
But I could never believe in it. I always shut my own projects down like a coward. Why can't I believe in myself? Who would believe in a man who can't believe in himself? Nobody believes. What the fuck? What the fuck?
What?
Give me a second. Okay. My siblings all sneer at me. How long is it going to take for me to be set free of this emotional complex? Just how long will it take?
Natsui was the only one who knew. Only she knew of Kraus's anguish. As the eldest son of the Ushiromiya family, who would soon be forced to bear an immense responsibility, he couldn't open his pained heart to anyone, and was always getting compared to his father's great enterprises.
I've made preparations concerning all other matters, so that you will be able to devote your attention entirely to the family conference. Yes, everything else has been seen to.
Thank you. Will there be any problems dealing with Father?
No, Genji and Dr. Nanjo are on our side. I'll never allow those greedy siblings to make contact with Father.
Excellent. So then we can kill everybody.
Hey.
Fake bodies.
Oh, hello. Goda here. Yes, please leave it to me. I'm anxious to put my skills to work for the big annual job. In the kitchen, multicolored ingredients were gathered and the preliminary arrangements were promptly being started. Even though it was still morning, the ingredients for dinner were already in saucepans and steaming. Normally he had to deal with several assorted matters, but on the day of the family conference he could devote himself entirely to cooking. To Goda, who was originally a chef, this was surely the greatest gala occasion of the whole year. Yes, dinner will be calf steak. A wonderful cut of meat is already anxiously waiting for tonight in the refrigerator. Please be sure to look forward to dinner. It was rare for Goda to be in this good of a mood towards his fellow servants. Goda bragged about being the Ushiromiya family's personal chef, and knowing he was considered worthy to display his excellent cooking at the family conference was his greatest honor. Who is this?
Genji, sorry.
Genji, understood. I will leave everything to you. Also, is Kumasawa there?
Let's go to...
Kumasawa! I happened to see her earlier, but she is not here. Perhaps she went to get things ready in the guest house. Is she loafing around again? No, it is fine. Please continue with your work. Yes, leave everything to me, Goda!
I love these guys.
Genji placed the telephone back on the receiver, sighing lightly. Genji sighed once again, thinking of Kumasawa, who was probably hiding again, even though things were this busy. and the ostentatious Goda, who only felt like doing anything on a day when he could show off. Excuse me. The preparations for all the rooms in the guest house are complete. We received instructions from Milady to prepare a room for 4 people so that the children can spend the night together. So what shall we do? I hear Battler will be coming for the first time in 6 years. Presumably, Milady wants to stay up late into the night with her 3 cousins. Make the preparations. You do not need to tell Madam. I see. Certainly. So, tonight we'll have the late night shift, followed immediately by the morning shift. It looks like these 2 days will be tiresome. Speaking of which, the weather forecast is saying a typhoon will strike in this area. Will everything be all right? Assuming the typhoon doesn't stray too far from its course, it may affect the boat ride back for the family members. The family conference's schedule might be extended until Monday or Tuesday. Our task may be a long and tiring one, but I earnestly ask that you take care not to make any blunders. Shannon, remain calm and do not panic. Cannon, be sure to greet our guests in a sociable manner. Yes, I'll be careful. I'll be careful. Today, we must conduct ourselves in a manner suitable for a very important guest. See to it that you make no blunders. We understand. All guests who visit here are important. Cannon, in the truest sense, we will be receiving a very important guest today. Make sure that you are prepared. Yes, sir. Shannon, is something the matter? You seem to be uneasy. Do you have some prior engagement at this time? Huh? No, it's nothing. My apologies. Nay-san, important guests will be arriving today. Detach yourself from your private life. I don't know what you mean by private life. As Shannon blushed just a bit, she turned her gaze away from the clock. Was it about time for the airplane carrying the family to arrive at Nijima? She tried to hide the fact that her upcoming long-awaited reunion with George was making her heart race, but Cannon, who stood beside her, seemed to see right through her.
Cool. Whoa, airplanes. Holy crap, dude. Nice. Ooh. Shannon, please don't say a word and accept this.
Inside a bathroom stall, George was practicing something over and over, taking out a small velvet box hidden in his pocket like a quick-draw desert gunman.
That's not it. Shannon likes men who are more assertive, or I've got to pump it up with some more horsepower. Shannon, put this on your ring finger. Yeah. That's an order, okay? If I don't say properly that it's on left hand, maybe she'll put it on the right hand. No, Shannon isn't that ignorant. But unless there's some room for her to express her free will, that'd be a little,
As he crossed his arms, muttering, someone knocked on the door. George was snapped back to reality.
Oh shit. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Hey, George, you okay? Got a stomachache or something?
Uncle Rudolph. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm big brain. No need to worry. Ha ha ha.
Really? That's good then. But you're straining way too much. Your ass'll burst. You don't want to know what happens at that time. Hemorrhoids are a bitch.
Rudolph washed his hands, laughing cheerfully as he left. George, realizing that the most embarrassing part hadn't been overheard, relaxed and felt extremely relieved.
As asshole broke.
Kiri, isn't Rosa here yet?
Oh, fuck. Well, what does her voice sound like? No.
Just like do intelligent lady voice.
Not yet. Oh, shit. She is
Yeah.
pretty late. No. Fuck. Okay, whatever.
Who cares,
I'll get it. I'll get it.
dude? Yeah.
It's a good thing the weather's delaying our flight. If the schedule had gone on normally, she would have missed the plane. What did she plan on doing then?
Rosa's very much an adult now. She'll manage it somehow. No matter how old they get, older brothers always treat their younger sisters like children.
Of course, Dad's always a kid, no matter how old he gets.
What do you say if I'm a kid Dad make you a baby? Come on, Battler Chan, up you go.
Stop it, that tickles. Wow, stop.
You look more like two bratty friends than a father and son. Look, she's here. Oh, if it isn't Rosa. Maria, long time no see.
Long time no see. Ooh. Maria, shouldn't that be it's good to see you again? Greet Hideyoshi properly. Ooh, it's good to see you again.
There you go. Well said. How about some candy as a reward? Oh, where did I put it? Rosa, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Maria.
It's been too long, Kiri, Hideyoshi. And, oh my, Battler, look how big you've gotten. Ah, come on, haha. It's embarrassing to hear that from everyone I meet.
Hey, Rosa, you're late. If the plane was on time, you'd barely have made it.
I'm sorry, we had some trouble making our train connection. So are we waiting on the weather again? Oh, don't complain. I much prefer the 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing about on a boat. Even if we're kept waiting here for an hour, it's still much faster overall. Is that Maria? You sure have gotten big. She's at that growing age. You haven't seen her for 6 years, right? Of course, she's changed. Women are creatures who can be born again in a single day when they have a change of heart.
Ooh.
Maria, noticing a big man she didn't recognize mixed in among the relatives, hid behind Rosa's back and glared at Battler.
Come on, Battler, say hi. The last time you met her, she was just 3 years old, so you're practically meeting her for the first time.
Yeah, of course. She wouldn't remember something that happened when she was 3. Hey, Maria, long time no see. You sure have gotten big. Maria, this is Battler. Rudolph's son. Understand? The brother's son is the brother's son.
She was obviously on her guard. After all, it was hardly surprising that she'd be scared if a large guy like Battler suddenly started speaking frankly to her. Battler noticed that as well and thought of various ways he might approach her. Then he spotted the candy she had in her hand. It was the jack-o'-lantern sweet Rosa had brought for her.
I see, it's October, so that must be for Halloween. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank, right?
Normally, trying to snatch a sweet away from a small child will result in them crying and screaming. The adults seemed dubious about Battler's tactics, but Maria looked unexpectedly pleased, her face splitting into a wide grin.
Halloween. See, Mama? Battler also knows about Halloween. See? Hey, calm him, Battler. Call him Battler, big brother. Sorry, Battler. No, don't sweat it. Please, call me Battler, 'cause I'll be calling you Maria. Look, Maria, it's Halloween. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank. If you don't give me sweets, I'll play a prank.
From inside her purse, Maria picked out a jack-o'-lantern sweet similar to the one she had in her hand and presented it to Battler. When Battler accepted it, that seemed to be enough to confirm their friendship. The adults were amazed at how good children can be at getting along with each other. Maria had been throwing a tantrum because she wanted a Halloween festival, so Battler, who knew about trick-or-treating, must have felt like an ally. Her defensive posture from before was completely gone. Now she was all cheery, as though they'd been friends for decades.
That's right, Halloween's a pretty minor event in Japan. You always see people marching in costume parades on the news from overseas, but I've never seen it here.
I want to wear a costume too. Wanted to say trick or treat with all the cousins wearing costumes.
I see. Next time, let's do it together. What would you like to dress up as?
A witch. Beatrice.
Then all of a sudden, Maria burst out in a fit of flame and fire. Dying instantly. Holy shit, that was fucked.
Look, it's Beatrice.
No, it's not.
Oh, my lady.
That's just an illusion, dude.
What are you
What,
doing
you haven't
in
figured
such
out
a
the
place?
mystery yet? Beatrice doesn't actually exist.
What?
What?
Beatrice exists.
Fuck off.
Oh, my lady.
Okay.
What are you doing in such a place? Madam was looking for you.
I'm here because I don't want to be found. Anyway, I'm sure she just wants to scold me, like, is your appearance alright? And watch your language. Oh.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know, when the day of the family conference comes, I always started thinking about this witch for some reason.
Oh. And why might that be?
The family conference is the day when everyone related to grandfather gathers. I hear that this time even Battler's gonna be coming after 6 years. What if, just like that, some relative who hasn't shown themselves for several decades suddenly shows up? That's what I'm always thinking about.
Oh, could a relative like that exist?
I mean, Beatrice. Nobody knows her background. Could she be grandfather's mistress from long ago? What if one of her descendants suddenly appears and tells us to return the gold we were given or something?
Oh, Kraus and the others will probably discuss the Master's inheritance problem this year too. Once they get so fired up talking about the witch's gold, one could hardly be surprised if that witch herself were to show up, yes?
Shut up, Kumasawa. I guess you keep quitting and getting rehired because you've been here as long as Genji, right? You know more about Beatrice, don't you?
Who knows? Oh ho ho! Even if I try to remember, this old woman here can't even recall what she had for breakfast this morning.
It was oats. Kumasawa, you're always dodging those excuses, but you know something, right? Sometimes you feel kind of devious, like you know something and you're laughing behind our backs.
Oh, that's harsh. I don't have any secrets. The only thing I can say is that Beatrice is the Golden Witch, and that she is the other master who controls the night of this island.
Okay, now you're just repeating stuff Grandfather said. It must be a pain to play along with Grandfather's crap, even though you get paid for it.
However, I can say this much.
What?
In ancient times, Rokkenjime was feared and called Azuki-shima, Azuki being island. The Azuki is said to be a corrupted form of Akujiki, and in fact it was called Akujiki-shima, Evil Appetite Island. That is what is told among the fishermen. I've heard about that before.
No, I've heard about that before.
Oh.
Supposedly there's lots of sunken rocks and ships around here, so the fishermen got scared and strayed away whenever they could, right?
Evil spirits settled down in Akujiki-shima and have continually eaten the souls of people since ancient times. Quite a few people lost their lives because of this island.
Whoa, holy shit. And then that monk, the traveling Shugenja or whatever, built that shrine, reposed the souls and settled them here, right? Sounds pretty crazy though. I don't buy into your bullshit, Kumasawa.
And that shrine for the repose of souls was destroyed by an eerie violet thunderbolt this summer, which tore up the darkness of the night.
Kumasawa, you really like those stories. And that's just all they are, stories. Okay, sure, it'd be pretty creepy if a thunderbolt took out a shrine. But, well, it was all worn out from the start. Maybe it just got washed away by some big wave.
The evil spirits of Akuji Kishima woke from their slumber and summoned Beatrice. If Beatrice happens to pay a visit to the family conference...
If she does?
Kumasawa fell silent for a moment. Jessica was pressing her to keep going, so that gap felt strange and eerie. When Kumasawa noticed that she had Jessica plenty scared with her silence, she grinned broadly.
Well now, I wonder what would happen. Ho 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 ho.
Fuck off, Kumasawa. You're not even anything. Okay.
Well, that sounds great.
This is Kiri.
Of course. Won't you be able to do better at work if you get a chance to enrich your heart by living the good life every once in a while?
Yup. Can't live right unless both your wallet and your heart are enriched after all. Sure, I'll keep that day open. Go ahead and make reservations.
Okay. Don't even think of missing it.
Yeah, I'm counting on you. I love you, Kiri.
After kissing the receiver, Rudolph hung up. Before his seat, there were several executives with their sleeves rolled up, eagerly awaiting the end of that phone call.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Have we heard anything from the States yet?
Yes, you have a call from Dale Watanabe, the lawyer. I'll transfer it.
On the whole, how's it going?
Well, there does seem to be one unfortunate matter. It appears the other party has no intentions of withdrawing from the trial.
Guess there's no fooling them. Please transfer it here.
Understood. I'll do that right away. The executive ordered that the external line be transferred to the secretarial office. At once, the phone in front of Rudolph rang.
Hey there. Hello, hello. Sorry for the wait, Ushirimiya speaking. Thanks. How's it going on your end?
Hello, President Ushiromiya. Let's skip the pleasantries and jump into the main issue. I've got good news and bad news. Which would you like first?
Might as well start with the bad. I hate fighting when there's no dessert.
Very well. The bad news is that the other party is getting ready to prosecute. Just a few days ago, a similar trial resulted in a decision in favor of the plaintiff. The defendants were using roughly the same arguments we planned to use, but they were rejected in every case. I'm afraid to say it, but if we face the courtroom as we are now, it's extremely likely that each one of our claims will get rejected.
So that trial ended up being a total bust after all, and I thought their position was even more solid than ours. That hurts. Okay, what about the good news?
I managed to contact the executives of the other party. I explained the situation we're in, told them we have no intentions of tarnishing their brand's image, and managed to get an understanding. They'll send us their terms over the next few days, and if these are carried out, they promise to withdraw their charges. This is their proposal according to the number 2 man on their board of directors.
Your impression?
To be honest, I expect their terms will be extremely severe. We estimate that changing the company name and the brand name will be inevitable. I think we'll be able to earn some leeway by playing with the amount of settlement money, making a public apology in a major newspaper, and carrying all this out within a reasonable amount of time.
They sure are making this complicated. When they could just tell us to go broke.
They only recently switched to a new president, and their groundwork hasn't been completely laid yet. If we resist until the bitter end, they fear the forces opposing the current president won't hesitate to aid their enemies. Hence, their big shots want this matter settled as quickly as possible too. So, we might still have enough leeway to get them to mitigate their terms if it'll lead to a quick settlement.
Either way, are we still looking at a crazy sum of money?
You need to be prepared for that. Even that would be much cheaper than paying punitive damages.
Thank you very much, sir. Please contact me if anything new happens. We're paying you the big bucks, so no idle chit-chat. Thank you, goodbye.
Rudolph hung up the phone. The executives sitting in reception seats seemed to have guessed at the contents of that discussion.
You guys hear that? Simply put, they'll forgive us if we can pile up enough money. Now all we've got to do is haggle over the amount of that money.
But President, the likely sum for the settlement Mr. Watanabe indicated is too much. We don't have that much of a margin.
If we'd known this would happen, we never would have started diversifying.
The calculations were that we could escape a capital crisis if we managed to endure for 3 years. To think we'd be stabbed at a time like this, how bad can our luck get?
I guess we fell at the step of the hop, step, and jump. It's enough to make you cry.
We have no choice but to draw money from the main bank.
Banks are no good. They only bet their money on winners. The economy's improving, but we can't show weakness to the banks.
President, do we have access to any funds that are unaccounted for? Funds we are unaware of?
Quit it. Do I look like that kind of man? The contents of my wallet are totally exposed to you guys, okay? The account books over there show all our company has.
In that case, we need to raise money. We need a sponsor who can draw in several million for us as soon as possible.
I know, a car wash.
President, couldn't something be worked out with one of your personal connections? President!
Shut up! Calm down, you bastards. Let me worry about raising the money. You guys just keep the business running without making too much noise. Our accusers are saying they'll let us be if we can show them the money. We've already gotten thick pipelines in Asia. Things will probably be shaky, but we'll be able to maintain our current deals. Basically, if we can just bring the money together, we'll be able to solve all our problems. Just you watch. I'll fix all of this. I won't leave you out in the cold. Time to start getting your hopes up again. Once this is all behind us, I'll be rewarding all of you guys with a champagne tower. I promise you that. So shut up and follow me. Got it? Ha!
The airplane suddenly shook, probably due to turbulence. Rudolph was jostled awake. He'd woken early that morning and ended up drifting off to sleep while resting in his seat. You okay? Are you sure you aren't still pretty sleepy? After all, it seems you've been really busy with work lately.
Being busy with work's nothing to complain about, right? Once I've got nothing left to do, it won't be long before we're out in the cold.
Good point. Now that even Battler's back, we'd be looking at worse than just the two of us going around begging.
Yeah, our family's all together again for the first time in 6 years, so the leader of our family got to give it his best when we want to spend some time alone together.
When he looked out the window, he saw that the airplane had already started to drop in altitude considerably. The fishing boats, which had only looked like black grains a short while ago, were starting to become clearly recognizable.
If I could prostrate myself before Father and get 10 million yen every time he slugged me, I'd do it 12 times. Or maybe he could just go and die already. I've always depended heavily on his financial support, and now I'm after his inheritance. I'm headed straight to hell. I can hardly complain if Father doesn't want to meet the man I've become. Oh, I'm such a fucking disgrace.
It's just going all over the place. Could it be that, once again, you do not plan on making an appearance at the family conference? Nanjo looked at Kinzo's face, sighing. Kinzo's eyes remained rooted to a strange book on magic.
I have no intention of joining those vultures in their debate. They can discuss how they'll suck my bones dry on their own. How utterly contemptible.
My, how troublesome. Nanjo shook his head slightly. To him, children and grandchildren were lovely things. He believed watching them grow was the only way to truly enjoy old age. So Kinzo's words were very saddening to Nanjo.
If the time comes...
Oh, shit. Fuck. If time comes for me to leave this room, I will show myself. Just as she does not show herself yet.
When Kinzo raised his face, his gaze pointed at the portrait of the witch, which was respectfully displayed on the wall. Kinzo's mind didn't dwell for a moment on the fact that today was the family conference, where all of his beloved relatives would gather. It was filled only by the face of the witch in the oil painting, who never smiled except inside the portrait. Everybody knew that interrupting Kinzo when he talked about Beatrice would trigger his wrath.
Today I will hold a certain ceremony.
Oh, and what might that be?
Perhaps it is closer to a gamble than a ceremony. After all, magic without risk can never house a miracle.
Nanjo had heard Kinzo say this many times before. You might even call it a pet phrase of Kinzo's. Kinzo apparently believed that magic and miracles could occur if you gambled your own fate with a certain amount of risk and triumphed. I wonder what sort of gamble you're making. As the man who was once called the Golden Gambler, and who's now so old he might pass on at any time, this should be well worth watching.
I see. So the secret ritual I have developed after much research appears to be nothing more than a gamble to one unversed in magic such as you. Very well. If I have faith in miracles and win, you will see clearly on this day that all my research did bear fruit, despite it seeming to be little more than the product of my eccentricity. If you win, it will all end just as you have already seen, as nothing more than the eccentricity of an old man who might leave this world at any time.
Oh, just what sort of gamble could you be planning to take? As your friend, that bet, or ceremony as you called it. I can only pray most sincerely that you achieve victory in it.
Yes, I thank you.
Speaking of which, Kinzo, have you heard that a much longed-for guest will be present at the family conference this year?
What?
For once, Kinzo reacted to Nanjo's words and turned around. That's right, Battler from Rudolph's family. I hear he'll be coming after an absence of 6 years. I'm sure he's become a splendid boy.
Oh, Battler. I wouldn't call him longed for, a guest who's failed to show up for a mere 6 years.
I think Kinzo should have a Jordan Peterson voice.
Let
No,
me work on that really quick, right now.
Well, that's a hard voice to do.
Well, you can't. He's Joker now. He's Joker.
That's not okay.
I can't do anything. I can't do any voice.
After hearing Battler's name and making a disappointed and ill-humored expression, Kinzo turned his back again. I imagine those 6 years went by in a flash for you, considering how you've immersed yourself in your research in this room.
I really want to do a Jordan Peterson voice right now.
Yeah, but it's I can't do a Jordan Peterson impersonation.
No.
He's got a very unique, distinct voice.
Here, maybe if I stand up straighter with my shoulders back, it'll work.
Yeah. Clean your room.
I'll just clean my room. I'll do everything I need to do. Alright. No, I can't. However, no.
Yeah, just do it the way you were doing.
Yeah, just normal voice. However, we might actually receive a visit from a truly longed-for guest. Everything depends on the results of the roulette. The roulette has already started to spin. Will it be rouge or noir? Tonight, let us enjoy ourselves as we see what kind of miracle the roulette will show us. The payoffs are large, and I don't intend to lose. Beatrice, accept my bet.
At that time, the telephone on the table rang. The piercing sound seemed to irritate Kinzo, and he picked up the receiver to preserve the silence as much as he could.
What is it? I'm busy.
Genji speaking. Everyone has arrived.
What of it? Just serve them some tea or something.
Certainly. I will do so. Kinzo hung up the phone rudely. Looking at that, Nanjo sighed yet again and shifted his attention outside the window. As he is now, I doubt Kinzo would pay any heed to any sort of guest. Could any guest possibly make Kinzo come out when the time comes, as he said? Kinzo had a single person in mind, but that was a guest who certainly wouldn't appear. Nanjo stared at the witch of the portrait with her impassive expression, unable to decide whether she was smiling or sad, and then gazed up at the lead-colored sky. Golden butterflies.
Wow, look at all the butterflies. Wow.
Ooh.
Hey! No! Get out of here. This mystery doesn't involve you.
Oh, we got an achievement. Welcome back to Rokkenjime. So, are all the pieces in place? Shall we line them all up again and start a new game? Any objections from you?
Yes. Get out of here. Nope. None.
The witch looked at him challengingly while elegantly smoking her pipe. And Battler? He just rudely shrugged his shoulders as if he didn't care what she did. He didn't meet her eyes. But that didn't mean he didn't intend to challenge her. It showed his clear determination to never be taken in by this bastard's tricks. It was an expression of his determination to fight. Don't tell me you're jumping into this without a plan.
I don't even know how you make your first move, so I've got no plans or anything. Go ahead and move first.
Humph. Naturally, I'll do so. How shall I break down your defenses? How many moves will it take to checkmate you? This is where you'll see me at my finest.
No matter what moves you come at me with, I won't believe in you. As long as I stand my ground on that point, I won't lose. And that means this game's built in a way that makes it impossible for you to win.
Perhaps you're right. However, I'm the one who decides how many times we'll hold this game. We'll repeat it over and over again until I win and you acknowledge your defeat. See? In other words, this is torture. An eternal torture that shall continue until you surrender to me. It shall go on endlessly until you acknowledge me and the existence of witches.
Then I'll play your game endlessly, as many times as it takes, until you run out of patience. I've never lost in a test of stubbornness.
Oh, did a certain witch plant that idea in your head? Very well.
What? Are you done speaking? I think
Yeah.
you cut out again.
Oh yeah, I said, oh, did a certain witch plant that idea in your head? Ha 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 ha, very well.
Okay. I'm tired of listening to you ramble. Come on, get this started.
Then let us begin. I already know all of your moves. A defense doesn't amount to much if the plan behind it is known. Don't think you'll be able to defy me with the same moves.
Beatrice, I've got just one thing to say before we start.
What is it?
You're a bitch. Go ahead and say whatever you want. However, whether I believe you is something I'll decide for myself. No matter how impressive this magic of yours is, my soul won't yield to you. You think this is torture for me? You're wrong.
Then what else could it be?
This is torture for you. Someday you'll surrender to me and give up. Until then, you'll be tortured over and over again.
How amusing. What an entertaining metaphor. Torture where we torment each other. Yes, truly amusing. Come, shall we begin that torture? Ushiro Miya Battler?
Fuck you, bitch. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to do the thing where I take on the mindset of the main character and try to solve everything in terms of not believing in the witch.
Maybe.
I don't fucking know, dude.
What?
I don't fucking know, dude. Mysteries are hard. Eh.
Well, hey, if you want to win $500,
yeah.
you gotta figure out what you're even supposed to do.
I know. God damn it. So. Fucking. God damn it. Well, I think them not showing Shannon or Cannon looking at their hands that Beatrice put the mark on is a pretty big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that being not being like overtly stated is a big clue, is a big hint.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty big clue.
Probably
the most important clue.
Okay, good. Wait, but you could be lying to me. Don't even try and do anything like that. Cause like, God damn it, dude. How do you solve a mystery?
How do you solve the mystery?
How do you solve a mystery? That's a pretty good question, actually, now that I think about it. It's a question that I haven't actually asked myself thus far, is how do you go about solving a mystery? I think that's a pretty important question that I should have known.
You've gotta, if you've got to think about it, you've got to try and figure out who the killer is. You said it was Curie and Rudolph.
Thus far, I said that.
Yes. They faked their own deaths, and they
Faked their own deaths, killed all the other people, poison on the 4 kids. I don't fucking know how pretty much anyone else died. Except for probably a few of the servants. I think that Ava and Hideyoshi were like killed with secret passageways. They weren't killed by people. They were killed by secret passageways. That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
The inanimate secret passageways actually killed the 2 instead of people.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that those exist. Secret passageways that just kill people.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, whoever is that writer that you're reading right now, he should make a book. He should write a graphic novel about secret passageways that kill people.
Yeah, well, he kind of did, cause I haven't read. There's a story where there's an earthquake that happens, and then the fault where the earthquake happens like splits, and the earth comes up, and there's a whole bunch of human-shaped holes in it, and they soon find out that each hole is actually meant for a certain person, and then they start climbing into these holes, and they die by something that's in them. And like once they go in the holes, they start sliding down, and they can't stop at that point. And they're really, I think the scary thing in that is like it feels claustrophobic, and once they're in these small little holes that are just shaped for them, all the drawings, it's like a really small human shaped space. With them going down, and then there's something in the space at the end, and they can't control it, and it's just that's what I think. But there's also another one where couch like a sofa sucks people in. So there's 2 where secret passages kill people. Like secret passage in the sofa
Shit.
and the secret passage in the fault from the earthquake.
Shit. Alright, well, it looks like I'm a fucking creative genius. I fucking... That's just what I am. That's just what I am. Worship me. Worship me in everything I do. Okay. But yeah. I just wish I had a definitive answer. But I guess I can try and solve the mystery twice. Once with Battler's presuppositions, and once with the idea that the witch does exist.
Oh, well.
But then that just doesn't make any sense, because then the witch can do everything. So no, I have to do it by Battler's presuppositions.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if the witch exists, then it's pretty easy to, like, understand how they did it. It's just magic.
It's just magic all the time.
Yeah, like, you don't have to think about that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Literal murder mystery, discounting witch. Witch doesn't exist anymore. She's never existed. So, yeah.
No, she exists.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Okay. Yes, she does. We're never going to get anywhere. Never going to get anywhere with that. Okay. So,
Like, I'm assuming she exists in some fundamental sense, but, like, as, like, a force of nature, but not, like, an actual thing. I think that's what they said in, like, the Tea Party, or whatever the hell. But yeah, I think that's enough theorizing for one day.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Come back on to Tuesday. Day.
Goodbye.
Stop.